How does Scotty Henry's kid brother Roger eat a Reese's?
Find out next on Junk Feud.
Aw, yeah, welcome to Junk Feud, the podcast about junk food, where we rate and review mystery treats to determine which one will be the undisputed champion of snacks. I'm your host, Mike. Alongside me, as always, Alyssa.
Hey, Dad.
Hey, bud.
Do you want to know why skeletons are so calm and collected?
Sure. Why are skeletons so calm and collected?
Because nothing gets under their skin. That was a good one.
Because they don't have skin.
It's a good one.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Oh, that was a dad joke, a joke you tell to your dad. If you'd like to submit a dad joke for Alyssa to tell me on the show, you can send it in to us via Twitter at JunkFeudPod or via email to junkfeudpod@gmail.com. Liz.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the world's yeetest podcast.
Yep, welcome back.
Ah, I love it. Hey, here's a good idea for all you out there that have social media accounts and big social networks. This is a reminder, subscribe to the show. Leave a rating and a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Share it with your friends. Let everybody know about the world's yeetest podcast.
Yeah.
Can you believe somebody bought that sweatshirt that we made?
I know.
That's so awesome.
I want that sweatshirt.
I'm excited about that.
The world's yeetest podcast.
Liz.
Yeah.
This is the last episode of spooky season here on Junk Bood.
Oh.
Yeah, Halloween's right around the corner. Next few days. But. Next week, we'll be right back to the competition, the regular Season 1 of Junk Feud, with a new contender for the reigning defending undisputed champion of snacks, movie theater popcorn.
Yep.
It's been a pretty good spooky season, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Did you get to do all the fun, scary stuff you wanted to do?
I don't know.
You don't know. Did you get to have all of your favorite Halloween treats? We've had, what did we have?
Apple cider donut.
Yeah, we had apple cider donuts. We had some ginger snaps. We tried some new ones too, the pumpkin spice latte.
Very good.
Yeah, the reigning defending undisputed champion of snacks, the pumpkin spice latte.
Champion.
That's right. So all there's left to do now is to paint pumpkins, I think.
I already painted pumpkins.
What?
In Maine.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a fun thing that we do every year, right?
Yeah.
You get a bunch of pumpkins. Some of them we carve up into jack-o'-lanterns. Some of them we paint. We have a whole big box of acrylic paints and some paintbrushes. Liz.
Last year, I made a really good Harry Potter one.
Oh, you did? That's right. I think that was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
That was last year.
That was last year?
Yeah.
With you carved out the scar on his forehead, so it was like, it looked like lightning coming out of it when you put the candle inside, like a jack-o'-lantern. Mm-hmm. That was a good one. When we were kids, your uncles and I, we used to paint pumpkins every year because Grandpa did some painting, and he had a really nice set of paints and paintbrushes, and every year, we would invite a bunch of kids over, and we'd all have pumpkins, and we would paint pumpkins, and what would happen was Grandpa had a big sketchbook, and he had all of these character designs for faces that looked really good when you painted them on pumpkins inside the sketchbook. And every kid would get to pick out the one that he wanted, and Grandpa would take a Sharpie or a big, heavy black art marker, and he would draw the outline onto the pumpkin, and then everybody would just kind of fill in the lines and paint the pumpkins.
Did I ever do that?
I think you did that maybe once or twice when you were really little. My favorite design of all of those that he drew, and I think we still have it somewhere. We'll have to see if we can get that and scan it in, put it up on Twitter. There was a character that we called the Pencil Teeth Geek that Grandpa drew, and it was like a big, scary, sort of clownish face with big, over-exaggerated features, big eyes and a big nose, and a gigantic mouth. And instead of teeth inside of his mouth, where his teeth would be, there were pencils.
Pencils?
Yeah, so we would paint them yellow and little black tips. And everything that we did looked amazing because after we went to sleep that night, Grandpa would come back downstairs, and once the paint was dry that we had filled in, he would come through and he would make thick black outlines around the character design so that it looked like we had actually done a good job staying in the lines. That was pretty fantastic. I'm pretty sure that he still has all of those old paints. He kept them in a blue, like a fishing tackle box, sort of. He's probably got them all, including, remember when we were talking about getting lead poisoning and heavy metals?
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of those paints were made with some heavy metals. In fact, my favorite one was called cadmium yellow, and it had actual cadmium in it. And this is kind of funny. Grandma used to yell at him. Grandpa would put the tip of the paintbrush in his mouth to put like a really fine point on it before he would paint so that he could do fine detail work. And sometimes it had some leftover paint on it, which we thought was pretty gross.
Ew.
Yeah, he's probably been like slowly poisoning himself over decades with cadmium and other kinds of heavy metals.
Yeah.
So what else is going on? You said you went up to Maine.
Yeah.
You had a birthday party not too long ago.
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
We went to Ocean City.
Ocean City, one of our favorite snack towns.
Yes.
Did you eat anything good there?
We had the caramel popcorn.
Oh, Johnson's caramel corn. That's right. My favorite.
Mango pizza.
Manco's pizza. So Liz, really quickly, for people that don't know, what is Manco's pizza? Like, what is Jersey Shore Boardwalk pizza? Because it's different than other kinds of pizza out there.
The best flatbread ever.
Yeah, it's very, very thin crust.
Yeah.
So thin, in fact, that if you watch these guys make the pizza, when they're tossing the dough in the air, it just looks like a regular crust, but then they put it back down onto the workbench and they peel it apart. It's actually 2 crusts that they're tossing at the same time. That's how thin they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what do they do with the sauce on those? Do you remember?
They swirl it.
Yeah, the sauce goes on top of the cheese and it's swirled on. And in fact, the swirl that they make comes out of a hose, Liz. There's a big vat of sauce and they spray it out onto the pizza with a hose. It looks really gross, but it's delicious.
It is delicious.
How about when you were up in Maine? What kind of things did you eat up there? What kind of snacks did you get?
Well, we got apple cider.
Ooh, yeah. Very festive for the fall season, sure.
Maple syrup.
Of course.
We picked apples.
I had one of those today. That was really good.
They were really good, right?
Yeah, they were great apples.
Oh, we got chocolate-covered blueberries.
Chocolate-covered blueberries. I think we're going to have to try them on the show.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that are chocolate-covered, Liz.
What?
That reminds me of this week's snack.
Reese's Cups.
Up next on Junk Feud, it's Reese's Cups.
Yeah.
Alyssa, what do you know about Reese's Cups?
They are Mom's favorite, and if they don't win, she's going to get us in trouble.
Mom's favorite snack, and she warned you before we went in to record this show.
She said if they don't win, I'm sleeping on the couch. And so is Dad.
Well,
so I don't know who you're laughing at.
Well, I'm laughing at you. It's a weird threat for a small child, but yeah, that's fine. So, Liz.
What?
The history of Reese's Cups is very fascinating because it sort of sheds light on the phrase, have you ever heard this before? Necessity is the mother of invention.
No.
What do you think that means?
Necessity is the mother of invention?
Yeah. What do you think that means?
Something important is on top of the invention.
Well, okay, that's one way to say it. What's necessity?
Necessity is needed?
Yeah, it's when you have to do something, when you need to do something.
Yeah.
And what's invention?
Something you make, it's invented.
Yeah, something that you make.
You made it and it wasn't a recipe or directions.
Right, something you're making for the first time.
Like your own thing.
That's right, a brand new invention.
We should make an invention for Junk Feud, a food.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, let's table that.
The Peck Supreme.
The Peck Supreme, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to come back around to that.
Or the Yeetest. Be the Yeetest food on the internet.
The Yeetest snacks on the internet?
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll probably get around to that at some point.
Yeah.
The story of Reese's Cups is really the story of a guy who got around to inventing something pretty fantastic. The road to the invention of Reese's Cups is almost as fascinating as the snacks themselves. They were invented in 1928, on November 15th to be exact. So the anniversary is coming up. And there was this guy. His name was Harry Burnett Reese, or H.B. Reese. And H.B. Reese had a lot of jobs, Alyssa.
A lot. More than you had?
Oh, yeah, for sure. This guy, H.B. Reese, he was a grinder. He was a hustler. He had tried a number of different ways to try to make a living. And when we say necessity is the mother of invention, the necessity for H.B. Reese was that he had 16 kids.
16?
16 kids. Can you believe that?
That's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids. And in fact, one of the earliest advertisements for Reese's Candies was a photo of his 16 kids. And the tagline on it said 16 reasons to eat a Reese's. Yeah, that's pretty good. So H.B. Reese worked on farms. He worked in factories. He worked at a fish hatchery, at a paper mill. He worked at a vegetable cannery. He even, listen to this, he raised frogs and sold them to restaurants to be eaten in appetizers as frog legs. Yeah, isn't that gross?
Yeah.
And he got sort of a break in 1917 in Hershey, Pennsylvania, when he joined the Hershey Company. He was managing a dairy farm that they had, and the dairy farm was not doing so hot. They eventually shut it down, and Reese went away for a while. But then in 1921, he came back to the Hershey Company in the shipping department. And right around that time, being around candy so often sort of sparked something inside of him, and he started making chocolate confections in the basement of his house using Hershey's chocolate. They can't see you when you nod. This is radio.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. So it's pretty interesting. The house that he worked in the basement where he made his chocolate confections, is still there. It's still standing out in Hershey, Pennsylvania. You can see it online. It has central air conditioning now, which looks kind of funny, but that actually plays a part later. The idea behind this was that Reese had decided, after watching all of the big train cars leaving the Hershey factory with all the chocolate on it, that if Milton Hershey could make so much money every day just by selling chocolate, then H.B. Reese could make some money of his own selling a little bit of candy on the side. And that's exactly what he did. In 1923, he founded the H.B. Reese Candy Company. And in fact, he went to Milton Hershey himself and asked him for his blessing to quit the company and start his own business.
He had to ask for a blessing to quit?
He didn't really have to, but it was sort of a polite thing to do because he was going to be in a competing industry. And what ended up happening was Milton Hershey agreed that Reese could leave the Hershey Company as long as he would continue to use Hershey's chocolates when he was making his candies.
Like he had to use Reese's? I mean, chocolate?
Yeah, Hershey's chocolate. They were his lone supplier of chocolate for all the confections, all the candies that he was making in his basement. And it was the beginning of a lifelong partnership for both men. H.B. Reese ended up building a 100,000 square foot factory right there on Chocolate Avenue in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And after Reese died in 1956, Hershey bought the company from his children for stock options that are worth billions of dollars today. And listen to this, Liz, since it's spooky season, you'll enjoy this. Reese and Hershey are both buried next to each other in the Hershey Company cemetery.
Ew.
Yeah, they're friends even in death. They've got their gravestones right there near each other.
Well, now they can't get into fights.
Well, I guess not. Or maybe they can.
Oh.
Ooh.
Boo. Spooky. It's spooky that they actually agreed to let them get buried next to each other.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice gesture, isn't it?
That's weird.
Like an illustration of that lifelong partnership.
Okay.
So here's what was going on in the 20s. Reese was making about a dozen or so different types of chocolate candy confections, including some candy bars that were named after some of his children, and they had all kinds of fillings inside of them. They were chocolate that were usually stuffed with fruits or creams or nuts, but in 1928, Reese was visiting a customer that he had out in Harrisburg, in the state capital, and the customer let Reese know that he was having trouble with his other suppliers giving him chocolate-covered peanut butter candies. So Reese himself said, yeah, no problem, I can make those for you, we'll do it. And he started making these things that he called peanut butter cups, and he was selling them for 1 penny each.
A penny?
A penny each. And in fact, he called them penny cups as a result.
They're pretty big, though.
Yeah, well, they became very, very popular. And in fact, Reese sold so many penny cups that he was able to pay off the mortgages on both his house, where he started making candy, and his entire factory, where he later made the candy. He was 49 years old at the time that he invented Reese's cups.
Wow.
Yeah, it's never too late to hit it big, huh?
Not too late for you.
Excuse me. Is that another I'm old joke?
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, you're getting close.
I am not. All right. Very funny. So, hey, what else was going on in 1928, Liz?
Rice Krispies debuted.
Rice Krispies debuted, sure. What else?
Maya Angelou is born. Angelou?
Yeah. Maya Angelou, the poet, was born. Ernest Hemingway moved to Key West.
Amelia Earhart flies across the Atlantic.
That's right. Penicillin was discovered.
What is penicillin?
What is penicillin? Do you know?
No.
Well, I guess not, because you asked me, right?
Yeah.
Penicillin is an antibiotic. It's a medication.
Oh.
It's probably single-handedly responsible for a significant increase in life expectancy across the world.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah, that's a great thing. So remember when we said that H.B. Reese had 16 children?
Yeah.
Well, part of the reason that people had that many children back then was because you did not expect all of them to survive.
Without it?
Yeah, there was not much in the way of medical science back then, and you had to have a bunch of kids because the expectation was that a good chunk of them were going to die when they were young and they were not going to make it to adulthood.
Oh.
Yeah, and also you had to have lots of kids to work in farms and factories for you because child labor laws were not as extensive as they are today. So yeah, penicillin being discovered was kind of a big deal. You know what else was a big deal?
What?
The television was invented by a guy named Philo Farnsworth, which is a fantastic name for the inventor of the television.
Philo Farnsworth.
Philo Farnsworth. Herbert Hoover won the U.S. presidency. Mickey Mouse appeared for the first time in some cartoons. The first one was undistributed. It was called Plain Crazy. And then later, of course, Steamboat Willie in November of that year, the one that everybody recognizes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, Liz, this is important. The Kellogg-Briand Pact was signed in Paris, which outlawed aggressive war.
What was that?
It was a treaty between the U.S. Secretary of State at the time and a whole bunch of other countries that in the wake of World War I, which was so devastating to everybody, all these countries got together and they said, we will make it illegal for any country to go to war with any other country.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. How do you think that worked out?
Probably bad, right?
Yeah, it wasn't so great because World War II happened like almost immediately afterwards. It was a nice remembrance of the idealism of the interwar period there, when people thought that they could actually get things done by working together.
Well, there was no World War III at least.
Well, that's true. So far, as of the recording of this episode.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Let's hope nothing like that happens after this.
Yeah, I mean, diplomacy and international relations takes a lot of trial and error.
Okay, let's move on.
You know what else takes trial and error?
What?
The invention of Reese's Cups.
Great segment switcher-upper.
Segment switcher-upper. You know there's a word for that.
No, but I like that.
Segment switcher-upper?
Yeah, you created the World's Eatest podcast, so why can't I create something?
No, I think that was pretty good. We're going to use that from now on.
Segment switcher-upper.
Segment switcher-upper. Well, here's the segment switcher-upper list.
Okay.
Reese's Cups were very popular, but they weren't always a sure thing. We talked about the house that H.B. Reese worked in the basement of, having central air conditioning now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, back in the 20s, when he was making Reese's Cups, there was no refrigeration, and Reese couldn't produce the candies in the summer because all the chocolate would melt.
There was no fridge?
No, they had to take a break during the summer. They could only produce the candies in the off-seasons. How about that? Here's another interesting thing. The signature flavor of Reese's peanut butter that everybody loves now was achieved by H.B. Reese roasting peanuts in a very large oven that he had. But here's the thing. The roaster had a malfunction that he didn't know about. And the peanuts would get roasted until they were almost burning. And it gave them this really fantastic extra toasty flavor. But he just thought the oven was working as it was supposed to. So when he bought a new, bigger oven, all of his customers complained that the flavor of the Reese's peanut butter cups was different. So he had to go back and tweak the settings on the new oven to replicate the flavor of the old broken one.
So to make them burn?
Yeah, to make them almost burn, that's right. And then we've talked about this before. Later during World War II, when sugar was being rationed, all the candy manufacturers had to make some concessions because they couldn't get access to as much sugar as they would have liked to for their production. So what happened to Reese is that he was forced to cancel every other product in his line. And he made the decision to only continue making peanut butter cups. Partially that was because they used the least sugar of everything else in the product line, but it turned out the decision was a good one. Reese's Cups is the top-selling candy brand in all of the United States today.
That sounds reasonable.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And today there are lots of different varieties of Reese's Cups, just as there are tons of different Oreos or Doritos or all those other snacks that we look at. There are different flavors, different shapes. The first non-standard variety of Reese's Peanut Butter Cup was the Crunchy Peanut Butter Cup in 1976. You don't see those very often anymore, but they're still around. Even if they're not very popular, you can still get them.
Well, yeah, you can still get them, right?
Have you ever had one?
I don't think so.
They're pretty good. Some people don't like the texture of the crunchy peanuts.
I kind of want to try that.
Yeah, I think that would be a good one to try.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned and maybe we'll try it.
As well as those crunchy cups, there are at least 60 different varieties of Reese's Cups or associated products. Some of the most recent and most successful ones have seen the addition of new ingredients inserted into the peanut butter cups themselves, like big peanut butter cups with pretzels inside or potato chips inside. There are some with crunchy cookies. There are peanut butter cups that have Reese's Pieces inserted inside. And now there's even one, Liz, you'll enjoy this, that has Reese's Puffs cereal inside.
Reese's Puffs. Eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up.
Yeah, your favorite song.
To annoy you with.
You know what? It's not actually that bad. It's kind of growing on me now.
Just like the World's Eatest podcast.
That's right. Liz, there have been cups with white chocolate, cups with dark chocolate. There have been some cups that don't have any chocolate at all and have this peanut butter fudge in their place instead. And then this one, my favorite. I've never had one of these, but I'd love to. They had a version.
Your favorite?
Well, in concept, I guess I should say.
Oh.
They have a version that's stuffed with peanut butter and banana cream in honor of Elvis Presley and his favorite sandwich, according to his mother, which was a peanut butter and banana sandwich, sometimes with bacon on it. Have you ever heard of a thing called a Fool's Gold sandwich, Liz?
No, but I'm assuming that's what it is.
It's similar to that. So the Fool's Gold sandwich was sort of a delicacy that Elvis liked. And in fact, when he was very famous, he would occasionally take his private jet and fly to Colorado, where there was one restaurant that would make him a Fool's Gold sandwich. Do you know what it was?
Is there peanut butter?
There is peanut butter, an entire jar of peanut butter.
Bananas?
No bananas, but an
Pickles?
entire jar of peanut butter, an entire jar of blueberry jam, an entire pound of bacon, and a whole loaf of toasted French bread that's been hollowed out.
Whoa.
Can you imagine eating something like that?
So if you went to Colorado and asked for that, would they give it to you?
Well, if you went to the right place, sure.
Really?
Uh-huh.
We should try it.
I think probably we could make one of those at home.
But would we do an entire thing of peanut butter?
Well, I don't think I could eat it myself.
I wouldn't eat it.
No, I'd probably have some of it. I had that peanut butter and jelly hot dog that your cousin dared me to try.
It wasn't horrible.
It wasn't that bad, actually. I was pleasantly surprised by that.
He likes the weirdest food.
You know what? Peanut butter on a burger is good. Have you ever had a goober burger? That's a burger with peanut butter on it.
No, did they eat that in the Goonies movie?
No, but goobers were a nickname for peanuts way back when. Some people still call them that.
For peanuts?
Yeah, peanut butter burger's not bad. There was one that I like to have. There's an Irish pub in Destin, Florida that has a peanut butter burger that's pretty good.
All right, segment switcher-upper.
Segment switcher-upper?
Yeah.
So, I guess, all right, here's a segment switcher-upper. A fool's gold sandwich is a long loaf of bread, and a peanut butter burger is sort of like a short round roll. The different shapes have different flavors. And guess what, Liz?
What?
The different shapes of Reese's peanut butter cups taste a little bit different as well.
Yeah, like Mom likes the pumpkins the best.
Mom likes pumpkins and eggs, and I think that's partly because the size and shape of the candy changes the way the ratios of ingredients interact, which affects their flavor.
Was it for Mother's Day or Mom's birthday that she got that giant thing of Reese's? Like all different kinds.
I think that was her Easter basket this year. The Easter Bunny left her a big Reese's-themed basket full of goodies.
I think it was only Reese's in that.
I think it was too. We'll have to see if we've got a picture of that somewhere.
Yeah, and we'll post it on Twitter.
Yeah, well, there are subtle differences between the way that these different candies taste based on their size and their shape and, like I said, the ingredient ratios. And in fact, in 2015, there was a Reddit user whose name was Rusted, and he gathered together 9 different shapes of Reese's, and then he dissected them all. He took an X-Acto knife, and he carved them apart, separating the peanut butter from the chocolate, and then he used a little postal scale to weigh all the ingredients to see which shapes had the most peanut butter inside. Do you know what the end result was, Liz?
What?
Regular Reese's cups were about 40% peanut butter and 60% chocolate. Reese's Hearts and Reese's Eggs had the most peanut butter at around 60%, and then the pumpkin shape, the one we're going to try today, was the closest to even at about 50%. So it was about half chocolate and half peanut butter. Hearts and Eggs a little more.
Mama likes it.
That's right. I think that's probably part of it. Now, here's
Half
an
and
interesting
half.
thing. Yeah, when we're discussing how we like these types of candies, about how well they do the things that they're supposed to do. For something like a Reese's cup, where somebody has to decide through a very subtle, very nuanced difference, like a single-digit change in the ratio of peanut butter to chocolate. Do you think that's like the most important criteria in trying to figure out which variety is best? Like a single objective measure like peanut butter ratio? Or might it be something else, like something more subjective?
Maybe something just simple.
Yeah. So does having the most peanut butter mean it's the best of all the snacks? Or do you think maybe there's something else that we should think about?
I don't know, because I personally don't like peanut butter that much. So it's not really up to me. I think this would be more up to you.
Okay, well, we'll have to talk about that when we'll try it. You know what some companies will do to try to force those decisions onto their consumers?
What?
They'll use advertising campaigns, of course. They'll try to convince you to think about their candy in exactly the way that they want you to think about it.
Yeah, like that question could be stuck on someone's mind forever.
That's right, and Reese's has been really good at doing this throughout the history of the candy. In fact, possibly their most famous advertising campaign happened right around the 70s and 80s, and coincidentally, that was a little bit after the Hershey Company had bought out H.B. Reese's Candy Company from his sons after his untimely death.
Who died first? The Reese's guy or the
Or the Hershey guy?
Yeah.
It was H.B. Reese, I believe.
Hmm.
So, what happened was Hershey bought the Reese's Company. Reese's peanut butter cups were already very popular, but Hershey's wanted to rebrand them as something new and exciting and a little bit weird to try to entice people into trying this candy. So what they did was they pretended that Reese's cups were a new invention and that they were a little bit wacky and off the wall. And the way they did this was they hired an ad agency called Ogilvy and Mather, and they tried to rebrand the treat as this kind of weird new aberrant idea. They wanted to reassociate it with the new owners, even though it had already been popular for some time. The way they did that was by creating these commercials where there was a person walking down the street eating a chocolate bar and a person walking down the street in the other direction eating a jar of peanut butter. And then by some coincidence, they would smash into each other and the chocolate bar would fall into the peanut butter jar. And they would say, "You got chocolate on my peanut butter. You got peanut butter in my chocolate." And then they'd try it and they'd say, "This is great," or whatever. And the tagline at the end was, "Chocolate and peanut butter cups, two great tastes that taste great together."
Reese's, help yourself.
Are you trying out to be their new pitch person?
No, that's for mac and cheese.
It's for mac and cheese?
Kraft mac and cheese. Help yourself.
Their tagline is "Help yourself"?
Yeah, look it up.
All right. I guess it's not as memorable as two great tastes that taste great together, is it?
Yeah.
And of course, peanut butter and chocolate is a fantastic mixture, and it had been for many, many years before. In fact, Liz, there's a movie that I like a lot that I don't think many people saw. It's called Disturbia. It stars Shia LaBeouf.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, the whole premise of the movie is that he gets in trouble for fighting in school. He gets sent home on house arrest, I think, for like the entire summer. And there's a big montage at the beginning where he's trying to find ways to occupy his time and his new freedom from, sort of being home alone all summer by himself with nothing to do. And in one of the scenes, he's just walking through his house with a jar of peanut butter and a big squirt bottle of Hershey's chocolate syrup, and he's mixing them both together and just eating the whole thing with a spoon. And even though it looks kind of disgusting the way that he's doing it, it's still pretty good.
This just came to my mind.
Uh-huh.
What if WWE had
okay,
an ad for Reese's Cups, would it be like Hershey's chocolate, Reese's peanut butter, the tag team?
Oh, that would be a good one, yeah.
Yeah, WWE, sponsor us.
Shout out to Triple H.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the weird things about those commercials lists that I always thought was kind of funny was that every one of them had somebody just out in public doing normal people stuff, eating an entire jar of peanut butter with a spoon. Is that like a thing that people do you think? Do they just walk around the street with a jar of peanut butter and a spoon and eat it like that?
No, but what would be gross if someone did that with mayo?
Oh, could you imagine? I'm not by any means a mayo hater, but I'm not one of those people that could just eat a whole spoonful of mayonnaise just as it is.
I know someone that could.
Oh yeah, well, so do I. It's Ella.
But still, ugh.
Yeah, it sounds gross. You know what though?
What?
I guess it's not that crazy. There was a time when I used to keep a jar of crunchy peanut butter and a spoon in my desk, in the drawer. And then in the afternoon when it would hit 3 o'clock and I needed a little snack or a pick-me-up, I would just eat a few spoonfuls of peanut butter right out of the jar.
It's if you ever eat a spoonful of peanut butter, it glues your mouth together.
Yeah, it's very sticky, famously. It sticks to the roof of your mouth. That was always a weird thing from cartoons when I was a kid. People eating peanut butter and it sticking to the roof of their mouth and not being able to talk. Oh, the Got Milk commercial with Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. Have you ever seen that one?
Aaron Burr, sir.
Yeah, just like Hamilton. That's right. There's this guy who is, well, I'm not going to recount the whole thing, but the part to remember is a guy with a mouthful of peanut butter saying, "Aaron Burr, Aaron Burr," because he can't make the words.
Wait, can I try to do that? Can I go get peanut butter and do it?
Well, not right now, but we'll do that later. Maybe we'll put that up on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. There were a bunch of other very famous, very successful Reese's peanut butter cup advertising campaigns. Right after Two Great Tastes That Taste Great Together, You Got Chocolate in My Peanut Butter was How Do You Eat a Reese's? Or in the commercials, how do different celebrities or otherwise famous people eat a Reese's? One of my favorites was NASCAR racer Bill Elliott. Do you know who he is?
Nope.
So you've seen the movie Cars that your brother likes.
Yes, and I still don't get the obsession over it.
And you've seen in that movie The King, the older blue racing car that was the king of racing.
No.
Well, in that movie, the King was modeled after Richard Petty, who was the most famous, most successful stock car racer of all time. And probably in second or third place around that time was a guy named Bill Elliott. He was a very famous race car driver. So in this commercial, Bill Elliott is sitting in a chair in his house And the voiceover says how NASCAR driver Bill Elliott eats a Reese's. And then all of a sudden, a racing pit crew comes in, like the guys that change the tires and fill the car up with gas in a race. And then they pick up his chair and they jack it up and they take out a Reese's cup from the little sleeve and they hold it in front of him and he takes a bite and then he goes, awesome, because he had like a little bit of a lisp, at least in that commercial.
Awesome.
And that's every time I think something's awesome, I say it, but I say it in Bill Elliott's voice. Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then my favorite one of all time, I think, was, and I think we said it at the beginning of the show, how Scotty Henry's brother Roger eats a Reese's.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed you that commercial just before we started, didn't I?
Yeah.
And what happened in it?
There's a hole in it.
Roger eats the middle first.
How?
It's great. And even Scotty Henry in the commercial says, how do you do it, Raj?
How does he do it, Dad?
Well, how do you think you would eat the middle of the Reese's first in a perfect circle?
Your thumb through it?
Well, that would be one way, sure. Or maybe a cookie cutter would do it, like a biscuit cutter, like a donut hole cutter. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just for the commercial list.
But how?
This is puzzling you.
Oh, this is hurting my brain. Tell me.
Well, Raj said he'd never tell.
Raj.
The ad campaign now for Reese's is a little bit simpler. It's not my favorite one. They just say, not sorry, Reese's. And it's voiced by Will Arnett, who's the voice of, Lego Batman. Yeah, and a bunch of other things. It's kind of a weird indicator of the state of junk food advertising right now, which I don't mean to sound old and nostalgic, but the stuff we had when we were kids was better.
What was that? It sounded like country.
That's like the goofy old guy voice. Yeah, like if you go on Twitter and you look at brands for junk food or, just about anything else that has a brand on Twitter, really all they're doing is they're taking whatever the popular saying of the day is, and then they're applying it to their brand. Yeah. And it's kind of boring. Like, not sorry Reese's is interesting, but I don't think anybody has ever been sorry for eating a Reese's cup. Everybody likes them already. You don't have to be sorry about it.
Not me.
Yeah, I don't get it. Well, at the very least, those advertising campaigns have been widespread and mostly productive for the companies, but sometimes viral marketing goes a little bit wrong. Do you remember this, Liz?
What?
There was a photo online a few years ago of a Reese's cup, and it was broken open, but inside, instead of peanut butter, flowing out of it was baked beans.
Ew!
Yeah, doesn't that sound gross?
No, now I'm going to throw up.
Well, it wasn't real. It was photoshopped, but our favorite YouTuber, possibly of all time, who do you think it is?
William Osmond.
William, yeah, it was William Osmond. He successfully recreated the Reese's cup filled with baked beans. He poured down a layer of chocolate. He put some baked beans inside. He put more chocolate over the top. He froze them, or at least chilled them until they were firmed up. And what do you think the end result of that was?
Immediate gag.
Yeah, it was gross.
Ew.
How do you think he ate that one, Liz? Did he just
ate it?
Yeah, well, he had to eat it to see how it was. How do you think he ate it? Did he just dive in and take a bite? Did he put the whole thing in his mouth? Did he eat it like Scotty Henry's kid brother, Roger?
I would have just bitten into it.
Yeah, so here's what I want to know now.
What?
How do you eat a Reese's cup, Liz?
I don't.
What?
I just don't.
You've never had one before? I don't think that's true.
Well, I have, but I just bit into it.
So one of the advertising campaigns for Reese's cups was there's no wrong way to eat a Reese's. So that means there are lots of different ways to eat a Reese's cup.
Except if you enjoy it with baked beans. That's probably not a good way. Save that thought for later. Here's how I eat a Reese's cup, Liz. You can tell me if you think this makes sense. Okay.
If it's a regular Reese's cup, the one that has the ridges around the edge that comes in the little paper cup.
The litter.
I guess it does come in litter because you throw that little paper cup away when you're done. If it's a regular cup, what I like to do is nibble all the ridges off of the ends first, eat just the chocolate on the outside, and then what you have left is a big pad of peanut butter with a little thin layer of chocolate on the top and a little thin layer of chocolate on the bottom, and I call this the fillet of the peanut butter cup. It's like a fine steak cut from the middle, like a center-cut peanut butter fillet.
Doesn't that get stuck in your teeth?
No, it's delicious. I eat the whole thing in one bite. Now, when I looked it up online, Hershey's Chocolate World in Las Vegas has a website that shows you a bunch of different ways to eat Reese's cups. And that exact technique, the one I've been using as far back as I can remember, they have a name for, which is stripping the gear.
Stripping the gear, like
Yeah, like stripping off the gears of like a mechanical part or piece, like a piece of an engine that has gears inside. I think it's actually a pretty dumb name. I don't like it at all. And it actually makes me somewhat embarrassed to eat them that way.
We should come up with our own name for it.
I hope so. We've got to come up with something.
Yeah. So, I need to make like a dictionary for junk food. There's like a lot of words.
Yeah, that's a good idea. What was the one that you made up today for when we segue between segments?
Segment switcher-upper.
Segment switcher-upper, that's right. Hey, you want to have a segment switcher-upper right now?
Yep.
Liz, what is it about chocolate and peanut butter that makes them work together so well? What do you think?
Salty and sweet. Bliss point. Right
Salty
there and then.
and sweet. Part of the bliss point. That's right. And in fact, there's something else going on with chocolate and peanut butter together. And there's a scientific term for this. It's called dynamic sensory contrast. Dynamic sensory contrast. What do you think that means?
Well, I mean, they have a weird texture inside.
Yeah, that's right. They do have a weird texture inside. And that weird texture, or the combination of different weird textures, is dynamic sensory contrast. In fact, this is based in part on a very well-cited paper from 1993 from the National Institute of Health, under which they posited that the most palatable foods, the stuff that tastes best to you, have high levels of moment-to-moment sensory contrast. What did we call that in a few shows ago?
I'm not sure.
Heterogeneity. Remember heterogeneity?
No, I was just going to say ASMR.
Hey. No, it certainly isn't ASMR. It's heterogeneity. In fact, there were a bunch of articles that cited dynamic sensory contrast, and most of them related to a guy named Gregory Ziegler, who was a professor at Penn State. And he says, the combination of these contrasting textures sort of like short circuits your brain, and it makes you eat and enjoy foods like chocolate and peanut butter more because of the way that they interact with your palate and the differences or the contrasts between how they taste and they feel in your mouth.
I like those chocolate and banana and peanut butter protein shakes you make.
That's right. They have a little bit of dynamic sensory contrast in them. Not as much because when you blend them all together, they're all kind of like one consistency.
But it's really good.
But the flavors work together really well. And in fact, there's another way that chocolate and peanut butter work together because they produce complementary flavors that are very pleasing through what's called the Maillard reaction. Have you heard of the Maillard reaction?
Nope.
Liz, that's what happens when foods are browned while they cook. You know, like when you cook a steak and you get that nice brown crust on the outside?
Yeah.
Yeah, the browning of the food is the Maillard reaction. And what happens when you make peanut butter is that you roast peanuts. And the way that you roast peanuts creates flavor compounds that are very similar to what happens when you roast cacao beans to make chocolate.
Interesting.
Liz, it wouldn't be Halloween without chocolate.
It would not.
Chocolate is by far the favorite segment of junk food that's eaten at Halloween. In fact, a NewJersey.com article claimed that Reese's Cups, chocolate and peanut butter, were the most popular Halloween candy of all time in the state of New Jersey, where we live.
That sounds about right.
I think so too. And there were also similar articles for Florida and Massachusetts and probably a host of others. The orange and black branding and packaging evokes the colors of fall. The shapes and varieties are keyed to Halloween. In fact, there are Reese's Franken-Cups lists that have a green cream on the top so that they look like Frankenstein's monster's green skin. There are white chocolate ghosts. There are Reese's bats. There are Reese's pumpkins. And in fact, a single Reese's cup from a package is like the perfectly fun-sized snack to get in your trick-or-treat bag.
You know that feeling when you're trick-or-treating and this one person is just giving away the giant king-size packs?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's what I've just experienced.
You visit that house twice, huh?
No.
No?
No.
Aw, you're so sweet. You leave it for all the little kids?
No, me and my friends take them.
Oh, you give them out to all your friends. Okay. So you just make one trip, but with a big group.
Yeah.
Okay, that works. Well, if you had made a trip to a house with a big group and they gave you a bunch of stuff that you didn't want, do you know what Mr. Walter, our neighbor, calls any Halloween candy that's not chocolate?
Am I allowed to say it from the notes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Crap candy.
He calls it crap candy. If it's not chocolate, he doesn't want it. Well, Reese's knew that there was stuff like that going on every Halloween. So in 2018, they debuted this thing called the Reese's Candy Converter. Liz, it looked like a big vending machine with Reese's Cup branding all over it. But what happened was there was a door in the front and you dumped in all the candy that you trick-or-treated for and didn't want. And in return, it would give you back a whole bunch of Reese's Cups.
Did you ever do that?
I didn't do it because there was only one of these ever. It hasn't returned yet from 2018, but the company does say they're thinking about deploying them a little bit wider. There was just one of these in one neighborhood ever. And in fact, It was stocked with about 10,000 Reese's Cups, and it didn't even last the entire night for trick-or-treating.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, people traded in all of their candy for the 10,000 Reese's Cups inside.
We do the Switch Witch.
Yeah, sometimes the Switch Witch takes all the candy that you don't want, but guess what?
What?
Before the Switch Witch gets a chance, the Mommy Witch comes by and takes all your Reese's Cups out.
Yeah, that's true.
You know who else loves Reese's Cups at Halloween, Liz?
You.
I do too. Guess who else?
Uncle Matt.
Of course. Dracula, Liz.
Dracula!
My favorite of the How Do You Eat a Reese's commercials is a Halloween-themed one.
Count Chocula.
And they say, how a count eats a Reese's. And then there's a lightning strike and the lights go out. And when the lights turn back on, there's a Reese's cup and it has 2 little fang holes in it. And then you hear a voiceover that says, I like to eat the peanut butter first.
I like to eat the peanut. Oh, so he's like sucking it out.
Yeah, like he's a vampire and he's drinking blood, but he's drinking peanut butter.
Ew.
Yeah, that's my favorite of all of the Reese's Cups commercials. And guess what, Liz?
What?
It's now time for my favorite part of the show.
Alyssa reads the ingredients.
Alyssa reads the ingredients. Are you ready to read the ingredients for Reese's Peanut Butter Cups?
I think so.
And there's not that many of them. I'm surprised by this, but go ahead.
Okay. Milk chocolate, sugar, cocoa butter, chocolate, obviously, skim milk, milk fat, lactose. What is that?
Lecithin.
Lecithin, PGPR.
That's an emulsifier.
Peanuts, sugar, dextrose, salt, TBHQ, and citric acid.
That's right. There's not much in these. It's chocolate and it's peanut butter and it's sugar and salt. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Segment switcher upper.
Segment switcher upper. So, Liz.
Yeah.
Let's get to the rules of the game. Are you ready?
Yes.
Junk Feud is a culinary clash to see which treat will be crowned the undisputed champion of snacks. It's a king of the mountain style battle in which the reigning champ takes on a new challenger each week to see which snack reigns supreme. And Liz.
What?
Right now, the reigning, defending, undisputed champion of snacks.
Undisputed champion of snacks.
Is...
the pumpkin spice latte.
The pumpkin spice latte.
Or the PSL-ASAP. That's what I said earlier. We need to add that to our books, too.
Add that right after segment switcher.
PSL-ASAP.
Well, Liz, this is the second title defense for the PSL after defeating Candy Corn very soundly last week. I'm still kind of, I don't know, not devastated by that like I was with Cool Ranch Doritos. I like Candy Corn and Mellow Cream Pumpkins, but probably they were never going to win, I don't think.
Yeah.
So today, Liz, our challenger is the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
Yep.
Guess what?
What?
We've got some run-ins.
Run-ins?
Yeah, we are going to try all of the other seasonal shapes of Reese's Cups that we could find to see which one is the best.
We don't have 2, I think.
We don't have hearts or trees because they're a bit too far out of season. But, Liz.
What?
We have Reese's Cups. We have Reese's Thins.
Are there Christmas trees?
There are Christmas trees, yeah.
Do we have them?
We don't have any.
Oh.
We have pumpkins. We have a Reese's egg. We even have a white chocolate Reese's peanut butter ghost, Liz.
Ooh, I want to try that one.
Yeah, we're going to try to verify the findings from Rusted's Reddit post from 2015, where he talked about the ratio of peanut butter inside and which one was therefore the best. So we're going to see if we can verify that. It's crunch time.
Crunch time.
We rate our snacks using a tier list from sprinkles to fun dip, so snacks can be graded A, B, C, D, or F, with the very best treats earning the elusive S tier ranking. The following contest is scheduled for 1 serving.
1 serving.
And is for the undisputed championship of junk food.
Junk food.
Junk food. All right, so let's try them out. What do you want to do first? Regular cups?
We'll do regular first.
All right,
okay.
Regular Reese's cups up first.
Okay, so for the packaging, you're doing this too?
Yeah, go ahead.
It is a big yellow Reese's.
Sure.
Oh, this has 4?
Well, this is a king-size package, so there are 4 cups in there. We don't have to eat them all.
They're enlarged for detail, so we can see all their little crevices.
Yeah, you can see the ridges on the outside that are formed from the little paper cups. You can see a cutaway on the inside showing this sort of crumbly texture of the peanut butter. It's a little bit different than when you look inside of a jar of, like, creamy peanut butter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's turned into sort of like a dough almost.
It looks almost like granola.
Yeah, it's mixed with a lot of sugar and a little bit of salt to make it look kind of like that. So go ahead, open that up. Let's try it out.
Okay. Oh, they come in things?
Yeah, they have like little... They're like little cupcake liners, yeah. There really is a very satisfying sensation of peeling that liner off the edges, off of those little ridges.
Oh, it was so smooth, and I got my fingerprints on it.
Yeah, these are really nice. I just got these this morning, so they're in good shape. They're not stale. They're not old.
Okay.
You see the ridges around the outside. You see the really smooth Hershey's chocolate on the top and bottom. They smell very peanut buttery.
Yeah, very strong peanut butter scent.
Oh, man, these are so good. I couldn't do it. I couldn't bite the outside off. I just had to take a big bite. The chocolate and the peanut butter work so well together. If I didn't know it was because of dynamic sensory contrast, I wouldn't care either way. So these
ones taste really salty.
Those are good. Yeah. Very sugary, very chocolatey, very peanutty, and very salty, which I think is to their benefit for sure. Let's try the Reese's Pumpkins next.
These are the favorites.
We've got a king size 2-pack here. Same thing, same ingredients, just a different shape. On the package, there's a little bit of a purple capper on the end, because I guess purple is a Halloween-y kind of color.
Because of Dracula.
Dracula wears like purple garments, vestments.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I guess these are sort of pumpkin shaped, huh?
No.
They're a little squat.
they're a bit flat.
They're a bit flat. They're a bit oblong.
Well, this is.
But they are very big and heavy and dense. They really are.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna take a bite.
Whoa, that's a lot of peanut butter.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
So still very salty, very sugary. The peanut butter ratio is excellent in these. It really is. It's more peanut butter than the standard cup. The standard cup has thicker chocolate on the top and bottom, plus the ridges on the outside. This has a very, very thin, crispy chocolate shell all the way around, and a big glob of peanut butter right in the middle.
See, these aren't my favorite because I don't like peanut butter that much.
Well, that's important to note. So now for contrast, let's try the Reese's the thin cup. Now I only have one of these, so we'll have to share it. We'll break it in half.
No, I'll do it with my excellent karate.
You have excellent candy karate?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's take a look here.
Okay.
Now, Reese's Thins, I think, were created around the same time as like Oreo Thins, or all the different things that we're cashing in on the smaller, more, I don't know if you can be
3,
health conscious.
2, 1.
Okay.
I should even make a dent.
Failed experiment.
Oh, that was pretty even.
Wow, that was like a perfect clean break right down the middle. Good job. So immediately looking at these, this is fascinating because this is not at all what I would expect. Look how thick that chocolate is on there.
Yeah.
There is barely any peanut butter inside this.
That's a good thing for me.
The ridges on the outside are less pronounced. You can you can make them out that they're there, but the indentation, the embossing is just not very deep. Okay, these are immediately not as good. The whole benefit of having a Reese's peanut butter cup with Hershey's chocolate is that it masks the flavor of the Hershey's chocolate, because the Hershey's chocolate is not great as far as like standard milk chocolates go. So you really want that flavor of peanut butter to overpower it. And you get that from a standard cup, and you get that from the other shapes. But
in the Thins, it literally just tastes like Hershey's chocolate.
Yeah, it just tastes like Hershey's chocolate. There's too much chocolate and not enough peanut butter. So for me, that's at the bottom of my list.
To be honest, the pumpkins are probably the bottom for me, then the Thins, then the regular.
Well, let's see what we've got left. Let's try a peanut butter egg. This is a holdover from Easter.
So it might not be the best. So based on our rating, don't judge us.
Well, I don't know. I mean, these were bought fresh this year. We had one left, and I hid it so that we would have it available for us. So it's still good. The expiration date isn't until December, so we've got a few months left.
So that the mama monster doesn't eat it.
Oh yeah, she definitely would have snagged this if she knew. Okay, so there's a little bit, it's a little bit cloudy on the chocolate, so the milk solids have come up to the surface just a little bit, but not enough to be concerned about.
With my amazing splitting.
So it does look like an egg. I mean, it's perfectly oblong.
That looks like a lot.
That's a good break. It looks like, so I'm comparing it to the pumpkin right now. It looks like the chocolate is about the same on each one of these, but the egg is a little bit higher, like it's a taller candy. So there's maybe a little bit more room for peanut butter in here.
All right.
I mean, it's a little bit easier to eat than the pumpkin, just because the pumpkin has that sort of weird non-standard shape with the little stem at the top. The egg is an easier bite. It's like it is mouth shaped already. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. All right, the last thing we have here is a white chocolate ghost. I'm not really looking forward to this, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Chocolate and peanut butter works well together. White chocolate and peanut butter, not so much.
I like white chocolate.
I like white chocolate too, but only in very, very certain applications, and I don't think this is going to be one of them. Go ahead, try it out.
Ew, why is it like that?
I don't know. It's a little bit smashed. It looks like it had something on top of it. Well, another clean break. The white chocolate
it smells different, much different.
It does smell different. It smells a little bit more sweet. Chocolate has a little bit of inherent bitterness to it, even though it's a very sweet confection. White chocolate doesn't have that much. Yeah, let's try it out.
Ooh, it's like thicker.
Yeah, no, not for me. It's okay. I wouldn't, like, if this was all there was, I wouldn't turn it down, but
if this was all there was, I just wouldn't eat it.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So we've tried all the shapes we have. What do you think about ranking them in order before we get to the bliss point where we give our final thoughts?
What?
What do you think? Ranking them in order. All the different shapes and varieties that we tried. From your favorite to your least favorite. Let's hear it.
Favorite is either the egg or just the regular.
Okay.
I'm gonna say hold on, we gotta try one more bite. Okay. Egg, then regular.
Okay.
Then thin.
Wow.
Then pumpkin, then white chocolate.
Okay. Those are good ratings lists. I think I almost agree with you. So I would say, just based on our experience right now, egg first, then pumpkin, then classic, then white chocolate, and then thin. I really did not like the thins. I didn't like the white chocolate either. I definitely didn't like the thins. But I think, Liz, we are in agreement here.
The egg?
The egg is the best shape of the Reese's Cups. Now, we may have to revisit our rankings when we get a hold of the trees at Christmas time and the hearts at Valentine's. But for right now,
if the hearts, the trees, the other shapes were here, do you think egg would still win?
That's tough. I can't say for sure because I know that the hearts have a bit more peanut butter in them, I believe.
Then that's probably
but I think,
below average for me.
I think that the real answer for me is that the ratio of the egg plus the experience of eating it, the shape being like perfectly mouth-sized in shape, is really what puts it over the top for me. And Liz,
what?
We're going to get into our final thoughts right now because we're going to hit the bliss point. Every one of these snacks has an insane bliss point. The only ingredients in this treat is sugar and fat and salt. That's all it is. These are designed to hit the bliss point.
I think I'm about to finish the egg.
You have finished the eggs almost. Wow, they're good. So what do you think as far as ratings from sprinkles to fun dip for each of these shapes? Because I know what mine is, but let's start from least favorite all the way up to your top rated one first. So let's start with the ghost.
Oh, the ghost gets an F.
An F? Oh my gosh.
It was so bad.
Unbelievable. Wow. All right. So I wouldn't say an F. I think the oh yeah. Wow, an F. I can't believe you gave our first fun dip on the show to the white Reese's Ghost F. Wow, unbelievable. I'll say D plus. Oh. That's not that far from F, is it?
I'd just say, if you're gonna say D, just do D.
D plus. It's not a D. It's a D plus.
Okay. Pumpkins. I'll give those maybe like a C plus.
Pumpkin is an A plus for me.
Really?
Oh yeah, 100% A plus for me.
The thins, maybe like a D.
I'd say D for thins as well.
And then regular would probably be like a good B plus.
Regular's an A for me. Very good rating for you.
And then
what do you say for the egg?
An A.
An A. Liz, I'm giving the Reese's Egg an S. S tier ranking for the Reese's Egg from me.
Really?
Unbelievable. Sprinkles, elite style snack. S tier. At any point in time, if someone said to me, would you like a Reese's Egg? I would say, absolutely I would.
That's surprising.
I'm surprising myself here too, but I think I've gotten out because, and I hate to do this to it, but we have confined the Reese's Cup to junk booed. It is only available for the Halloween competition because it's in the subcategory already. So it will not make it out into the main competition. It's not going to take on movie theater butter popcorn. But if we think it's better than the pumpkin spice latte, it will continue on to next year's junk booed competition as the undisputed champion of snacks. So what do you say, Liz? You gave it an A. I gave it an S. Is the Reese's Egg, which is not Halloween shaped or themed in any way, is that the greatest Halloween snack of all time? And is it better than the pumpkin spice latte? Because I know my answer, and I know your mother's answer.
Well, obviously, she would say yes. What if I do like 50-50?
Well, we can't have co-champions. That's not how that works. This is a battle to the death.
I'm very surprised I'm going to say this, but yeah.
Yeah, the Reese's Egg is your winner and new undisputed champion of snacks, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups Egg. It's super weird for us to have an Easter-themed candy as the Halloween champion, but here we are, Liz.
You're going to clean this up, right?
Excuse me? Speaking of cleaning up, Liz, it's time for the Oreo rule because we've still got some Oreo-themed snacks to clean up after this, frankly, incredible competition with the Reese's Cups. It was nice for us to try some of those Oreo-flavored snacks. If you recall, we still had some international Oreo treats left over from friend of the show, Amir. That's right.
Thank you for those. You're going to have to bring some back.
What did we try today, Liz? We tried 2 chocolate bars that had Oreo components.
We tried the Milka Oreo.
Yep, we tried the Milka Oreo bar.
And the Milka Oreo Max.
And the Milka Oreo Max, that was the really big one that had like the full Oreo wafer right through the middle. What did you think of those?
No, not Max, just Max.
Max? Oh, because it has like 3 or 4 X's at the end of it. 4 X's?
Max.
Okay. Quad X. Yep. What'd you think of those? You like those quite a bit, huh?
I didn't like the Max very much, actually.
But you like the plain Oreo Milka bar, the one that had the cream in the middle with the little bits of cookie suspended in it?
Yeah, I had 2 more squares after you left.
What?
Yeah, you just didn't notice.
Oh, you sneak. Well, guess what? When I was at my desk at work today, I finished that bag of chocolate-covered Oreo Crunchies.
Hey!
They were pretty good. We still have another bag downstairs.
Those are so good. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so big shout out to Amir. We're still working our way through those, but everything is great.
Amir,
all of those are wonderful.
Next time you go there, we're gonna, you're gonna have to bring some of those back.
Yeah,
more,
well,
like
that's
800 bags.
That's a question that you can ask him. And Liz, I've got a question for you.
What?
A question that we ask each and every week, a very important question.
What?
Will it deep fry? Can you deep fry a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you sure can. You better believe it. They're a favorite carnival treat. Did you know, Liz, that in addition to deep fried Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, there's also a very fall-appropriate snack that incorporates the Reese's Cup. Do you know what it is?
What?
It is a Reese's Cup s'more.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's right. In addition to being spooky season out here in the Northeast, it is also what we call fire pit season. Everybody bundles up, they sit outside on the patio around a fire pit, they toast marshmallows, and they make s'mores. And if you are lucky enough to have Reese's Cups on hand instead of Hershey's chocolate bars, you simply substitute the little blocks of Hershey's chocolate with the Reese's Cups, and you can make a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup s'more. And that is amazing. It's just like a hot peanut butter fluff sandwich with some chocolate in it.
You know what would be really good?
What's that?
A s'more with those little chocolate Oreo Milka Max things.
Oh, yeah, like an embellished Oreo s'more. Well,
oh, that'd be so good.
Well, you better save a few of those pieces because it's fire pit season. It's time to make those. You know, you can get these Reese's Cup s'mores at Hershey Park in Pennsylvania, Liz.
We have to go there.
Yeah, there's always a huge line for those. Hey, guess what?
What?
It's time to check out the back of the box.
The back of the box.
It's a weekly segment where we play a little game. Would you like to play a game, Liz?
I would love to play a game.
Oh, boy. We've got a new segment this week. It's called Stop Copying Me.
Stop copying me.
On Stop Copying Me, we try to figure out if there's a way to defy the advertising copy of a major brand. Today, Liz.
Yeah.
We are going to consider the Reese's Cup and its old slogan, "There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's." Lissa.
What?
Can you think of a wrong way to eat a Reese's?
Yes.
Go ahead. What are they? What is it?
Well, with baked beans.
Oh, Reese's Cup with baked beans. Sure. What else?
Mashed potatoes.
Reese's Cups and mashed potatoes. Yeah, that probably wouldn't blend too well together.
Ew.
So here's a funny story. When I was doing the research for this episode, I happened across an article from McSweeney's, which is a regular periodical that is satirical in nature. It's a humor magazine. And the title of the article was Wrong Ways to Eat a Reese's. Do you want to hear what some of them were?
What?
First one was to just cut a hole in your stomach and push it in there.
Ew.
Instead of eating it with your mouth. That would be one. Another way was to eat it out of Bill Gates' belly button.
Ew.
That would
Ew.
That would be a wrong way to eat a Reese's. Here's my favorite one from that article. You get a Reese's Cup, you chew it up, you feed it to baby birds, and then you eat the baby birds.
What?
It's gross, isn't it?
Why did you read this?
Yeah. Hey, here's one that happened in real life, which is flat out bonkers. Let me just say it up front. Bananas.
What?
There was a woman in Florida you should be able to tell where we're going with this. She found a very
crazy.
Yeah, bat nuts crazy. She found an interesting way to eat a Reese's List. She was arrested for driving 127 miles per hour on Interstate 95. When she was pulled over and arrested, she told the officer that she was just trying to be the fastest person ever to eat a Reese's cup.
What?
Yeah, that sounds pretty funny, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, she also had 9 kilos of cocaine in the car.
Oh. Did she get arrested?
She sure did. And in fact, this wasn't even the first time she'd tried to use the Reese's Cup defense. She had previously been arrested for insurance fraud and arson, and she told the judge at her arraignment that she had been trying to enjoy a fire-roasted Reese's Cup.
Oh.
Yeah, she spent 4 years in federal prison.
Oh. And this is why we don't eat candy from strangers, kids.
Yeah, we don't even talk to strangers, especially if they're from Florida, unless they send us listener mail.
Yeah.
Liz, this podcast should reach you in excellent condition, satisfaction guaranteed, or your money back. If you've got a question for us, you can write to the address on the label. That's junkfeudpod@gmail.com. Very good. Any final words before we take off?
Stop copying me.
Stop copying me.
Stop copying me.
That was a fun one. We'll have to do that again.
Yeah, that was really fun.
Hey, this podcast has contained your recommended daily allowance of fun.
Fun.
For more, go to Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, or wherever you choose to be social and find us at JunkFeudPod. You can stream with us on Twitch, watch fun-sized snack reviews on YouTube, buy merch on TeePublic, and fund us on Patreon at JunkFeudPod for exclusive bites. Don't forget to catch all the snaction each and every week wherever you listen to podcasts. Until we see you again, for Alyssa, I'm Mike.
Pasta lasagna.
Don't get any on ya.
Bye.